EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com.
Hello, this is Darrell Spears, and this is another episode of Elite Conversations Unplugged. I just want to thank you guys for joining us this Thursday. We have another outstanding guest, and we have some great information for you. And we're going to be talking about all things legal for small business owners. So get your pen, get your paper. You're going to learn a lot about what's going on in the legal arena for small business owners. Again, my name is Darrell Spears. I am the CEO of EliteConversations.com. We always enjoy you, appreciate you for joining our sessions. If you'd like to see previous shows, just go to our website at EliteConversations.com. But today, we want to welcome Ms. Shavon J. Smith. She is a small business attorney and strategist and the principal at SJS law firm. So Shavon has been doing this for how long, Shavon?
I have owned my own practice. This is the 4th year of my own practice, but I've been practicing law for over 10 years.
Over 10 years. So we really appreciate Shavon for being our expert for today. And I just want to share a little bit about her. Shavon helps small business and medium-sized businesses solve in particular business problems. She is the founder of SJS Law Firm, PLCC, where she represents business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits in all legal aspects of their ventures, including employment matters, contracts, intellectual property, compliance, and legal strategy. Shavon regularly volunteers with various organizations to provide pro bono assistance to community entrepreneurs. She also sits on the board of Southeast DC nonprofit Willow Creek Community Development Corporation. Prior to starting SJS, she practiced law with a big D.C. law firm. For nearly 6 years, she counseled corporations on a variety of commercial matters. While toiling away in big law, Shavon dreamed of working for herself, but was stuck on what type of entrepreneur venture to pursue. Ultimately, she had an epiphany. Ultimately, she had an epiphany. Used her years of business attorney experience as a litigator to help small business, medium-sized business owners, and she used that experience to help them reach their goal. She graduated from Howard University Law in 2006 and earned her BA degree from Michigan State University. So Shavon has done a lot of work in the community, a lot of work in terms of supporting small business owners. That's great. So who is Shavon? Talk a little bit about your company and what type of services you provide.
The bottom line is I'm a problem solver. So
Excellent.
My business is a law practice. I work exclusively with small business owners and some entrepreneurs solving their problems.
Excellent.
And a lot of their problems involve employment issues, contracts, where to find space for their business. Sometimes there are disputes. So it's really kind of touching all the pain points for the small business owner who probably couldn't afford a big law firm or to hire a team of attorneys to have that person to look out for their business legally.
That's awesome, and I like what you said about pain points. There's a lot of pain points in terms of being a business owner, and
Absolutely.
particularly in this area when you're thinking about property and trying to set up shop for what you're trying to do. What are some of the targets or some of the businesses that you serve? Are they more retail? Are they government business owners, or what type of clientele do you have?
Most of my clientele are government contractors or consultants, but I definitely work with franchise owners, with retail space, with some nonprofits. So, because some of the problems are the same. So I work with a variety of different business owners.
Excellent. And now you say variety of owners too. What about the size? Do you work with the mom and pop and the solopreneurs in terms of?
Absolutely. You know, everyone starts somewhere.
Absolutely.
And really people, especially when they're doing it for their family, they're trying to build a legacy for their children. I love helping those people work in their businesses. So definitely people who are starting out at their kitchen table, I help those people as well.
Wow. So share a little bit about your passion. You worked for a big firm for 6 years.
Yes.
What made you take that step in terms of moving away and starting your own company, or your own law firm? I'm sorry.
So I was laid off from my job, which was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Wow.
I was laid off, and I didn't know what to do. I spent some time just kind of soul searching, and always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and knew that, and I explored other things. I look at franchise, but what I love about law is it allows me to touch a lot of different businesses, so I get to see, a variety of different businesses. So, and I decided I always love small businesses. I love solving problems, and so I would just meld the two together. So that's how the business was born.
Wow. And in terms of helping small business owners, I apologize, I should have turned my phone off. To what extent should small business owners be prepared when they come to you? Should they just have a business plan, or what do you suggest to them in terms of coordinating and making sure that they have everything in place in terms of building the entity? Do you help them with that in terms of the contract and developing the
Yeah,
entity
definitely in the beginning stages, especially if you have a partnership and you're selecting an entity. But I always say that when you're starting a business and you have a business, you're going to need a lot of professionals, and a legal person is one piece of that. So even in the beginning, you may come to me, but you also should probably see an accountant. You may want to see a marketing person, just to kind of pull everything together simultaneously. Okay,
because I know it's with new business owners, a lot of times the legal part is sort of pushed to the side. You like all the bells and whistles in terms of marketing, in terms of doing your social media, and it's so tough. So as a small business owner, thinking about where you are, what would you suggest in terms of an entity for a small business owner? I'm thinking again about the mom and pop. Should they consider just an LLC to start off slow, or if you have big aspirations, corporations, what are the different advantages and disadvantages of the legal entities?
Yeah, so I hate giving general advice, and the benefit of seeing a lawyer is they're going to give you, or an accountant or another professional, they're going to give you advice that works for you. So it may make a lot of sense for a mom and pop to set up an LLC because it is easier, you can do it online, but it may make sense to do some other formation for their company, another jurisdiction may make sense. So that's really the benefit of seeking counsel, is that you can get that factual analysis of your business, of what you're doing and what your long-term goals are, what the market is like, and what makes sense for your business.
That's awesome, awesome. And I know you talked a lot about property in terms of helping individuals with their space, and I would think a real estate agent is enough. So yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah. You have to have what do they come to you for in terms of getting property? Is this more of a lease or buying, or if I'm in retail and I want to buy, what do I need from you in terms of negotiating for that property? Right.
So definitely a realtor is going to help you locate property. But what's going to happen is if you're in a commercial lease, even your broker or your realtor will say, make sure you have your attorney look over the lease, because there's just a lot of legalese. There are going to be some things you want to negotiate in terms of guarantees or clauses. So again, it's one of those things, there are probably going to be a lot of hands in the pot. Wow. From a realtor to a broker to an attorney, that may be necessary if you're leasing space. And then if you're purchasing space, it's reviewing loan documents that you may have from the bank, reviewing other documents that the purchase and sell agreement. So again, it's about having a good team together that's going to help you in every point.
Okay. And does that change from principalities, different from D.C. to Maryland to Virginia?
I would say and when you're talking about real estate, it's probably the same in most places in terms of why you would need an attorney to help and the various entities you have involved. But again, you can always make the choice to find your own property and kind of go it alone. You can always go it alone.
That's true.
But it's sometimes easier to have expert help.
Okay. That is, believe me, I think it's very important on the legal side and on the accounting side as well. That's a check that's well worth writing in a lot of cases.
I always say either you'll pay now or you'll pay later.
Pay later. Yes. So what would you say the top 3 things that business owners come to you for right now?
I would say the top 3 things are, 1, contracts. Either they've recently gotten a contract and they don't quite know what it says, or they want to push back on some language, or they've met a person, or they have a new client or customer and they factually know what the relationship is, but they need someone to formalize that and put that into an agreement form. So definitely contracts. And then 2 is, for a business owner, employees are one of your greatest assets, but they can also be a source of liability. So it's figuring out, do I have an employer, independent contractor? now that I have an employee, what laws do I have to adhere to for my business? So those are some of the two main things. And then also people want to know ways to protect their intellectual property for their business, or what happens more importantly is that someone is using their intellectual property. So they need some sort of cease and desist letter because their logo is floating around on someone else's website, or something they wrote is on someone else's blog.
Okay. And in terms of partnerships, I've heard definitely some horror stories in terms of partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
What would you, and I know you can't really generalize and
Right.
recommend anything right now, but in terms of getting into partnerships, trying to say this in a way that it wouldn't put you in a spot.
No, I understand.
Is that something where you definitely need to have legal documents for, and what are some of the critical language that should be in there to protect yourself?
I think you absolutely do. I mean, I've seen best friends who were in business
Absolutely.
together end up hating each other in the end. So you definitely want to have first off, even before you hire a lawyer, you want to have an honest conversation with each other about your work style, and more importantly, your goals, because that's where it usually breaks down. Is that they had different goals. And that's usually when you end up hiring an attorney, because you couldn't come to an agreement because we didn't even want the same thing to begin with.
Wow.
So I think just sitting down and understanding that is the first piece, and that is a free conversation with your partner that you have. And then you come to an attorney. I think some important things for a partnership agreement are, one, what happens if we have a dispute? Because if you are arguing about something and there's no kind of template for how do we handle this, or an easier template than running off to a courthouse, then that can be a problem. So having dispute resolution, definitely having kind of who does what. If one partner is responsible for taxes, making sure that that's clear in the agreement. So I think just responsibilities and what happens if that breaks down are kind of key things you want to think about for a partnership.
Wow, and I didn't even think about that. You definitely want to break down all of the different responsibilities as well, because that can just get so mixed up, so convoluted
Absolutely.
in terms of who needs to do what. And actually, even the dispute piece, is it a good idea to maybe have an arbitrator? Are there certain disputes that you just can't resolve that should be spelled out in the contract, maybe financially, or
that's the standard lawyer answer. It depends. So maybe whether you should have arbitration or mediation or just litigation. Again, it kind of depends on sometimes even where the business is located, but just on the parties' desires as well.
Okay. Now, do you help on any issues in terms of negotiating, selling this company? You know, you get to a point where somebody wants to come and buy you out, and there might be a dispute there where individuals have issues.
So you would want to put clauses in the partnership agreement that talk about how we get to sell the business, who gets to make those decisions as well. So
that's interesting.
Yeah,
because we take a lot for granted. So you really need to spell out everything that could possibly.
You know, you do, but you can't.
Yes,
so you do as much
tough.
as you can, but there's always something that arises that may not quite cover, or which is why you want to make sure you're in business with reasonable people that you can work well with.
Wow. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So again, for SJS services, what are some of the things that you can do in terms of helping individuals that have not necessarily started yet, but maybe putting together a business plan? Is there some consultation that you can provide there?
Yeah, absolutely. Can definitely have a consultation with a person about their plans and what they may need legally for their business. So as they're planning, they have a sense of what to budget for and what to look out for.
Okay, great. So give us again a little bit of your portfolio of services that individuals that might be looking would come to you for.
Yeah, absolutely. So employment, you're hiring your first employee for your business. You are contracting for your business. You want help reviewing something, or maybe you're having a dispute with the contract. You could come to me for that. If you are kind of jumping into space for your business, needing help with leasing or with purchasing a business, are some of the main things that I can help you with.
Okay, excellent. And so in terms of employment, because again, I know in some cases on the HR side, you have the dispute as to whether they're an employee
Right.
or a contractor, and that could be kind of a fine line in terms of how you bring them on and how Uncle Sam looks at that.
Absolutely. So it's again, it's a conversation you may have with an accountant as well, because there are a lot of tax implications
as well, yeah.
With how you bring employees on.
Okay, excellent. Well, share a little bit about how individuals can find you. I know you're located in D.C.
I am. My office is in D.C. People can find me at my website. It's the sjslawfirm.com. They can find me on Twitter at the sjslawfirm.com. Facebook is your Small Business General Counsel. And you can always call me at 202-505-5309. But a website is a good start because it'll have all my information about my business on there.
Excellent. Well, I definitely appreciate the time. I think this has been excellent in terms of helping business owners just to think about, what they should be focused in on the legal aspect of starting a business and growing a business. Before we go, we talked a lot about startups. As business owners mature, is it a good idea for them to keep the same attorney? When you think about attorneys, you have the retainers,
yes,
and all that good stuff. So how does that, I'm just thinking from a common person in terms of legal fees, how does the retainer piece work for an individual that wants to have a lawyer there whenever they need it, whether it's intellectual, whether it's employees? Does the money just sitting there until they're ready to use you or whatever? How does retainers work?
Every attorney is going to have a different billing structure, and obviously there are a lot of ethical obligations that attorney have when it comes to money and how they receive payment. So it's really a conversation with your attorney about what makes sense if you are paying a retainer and it's in an attorney's trust account. So it's still, they are not just spending your money and they haven't done work for you. But it's again getting an attorney, and an attorney who's going to explain their billing practices to you so you understand what makes sense for your business.
Okay, that I wanted to mention that because that sort of clears it up, because a lot of people are confused about how to retain
right,
works.
like I paid this person and why they're just sitting there. Yeah,
for sure. But is there an option of not having a retainer, just paying for whatever you need, right?
And again, it depends on who you're working with, and if it's an attorney that you've built a long-term relationship with, they may not require a big retainer, or depending on the case, if it's litigation, a person may require a bigger retainer. If it's something else, there may be other payment arrangements that can be made. I think what's different now about the practice of law is that people are entrepreneurial. They're coming up with new and creative ways to practice law, to build their services. So I think it's important to find someone that'll kind of work with you on that regard.
Okay, and it just jumped to me. I wanted to bring that up because that's actually been questions that have come up in some meetings we've had. But that's just to bring some clarity for those that have never been in business before. So I appreciate that. Again, the name is Darrell Spears. This is Elite Conversations Unplugged. We have been talking to Ms. Shavon Smith, the principal of SJS Law Firm, who has brought us a wealth of information on what you can do as a business owner to make sure that when you're starting your business, you're starting it in the right way. You have all your legal concerns taken care of, and you're protected, which is key. So thank you for joining EliteConversations.com. Again, we're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Please, if you have need any more information, go to our website, EliteConversations.com, and definitely go to our YouTube page as well. We have been doing shows now for about 3 months, so we have a wealth of knowledge there, from legal to social media to government contracting. There's a lot of information there that can help you as a business owner. Again, my name is Darrell Spears. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.